And let's just check the lighting to see how bright we want it.
So this one is going live already.
Okay.
This one is going to start recording. Hopefully we have enough memory. Hey guys. Okay, let me close this. Let's see. Yeah, I think the lighting is okay. I think that one's okay. I don't know how you feel. We're recording with a few cameras. We're live on my channel, so hi for those of you who are joining us. Hopefully you read the description and you're able to see what we're going to be talking about. I have a special guest coming on in a couple of minutes. She's setting up her camera, and we're also recording this. So this is going up no matter what.
Yes.
Hi guys, this is Ciara.
Hello.
And as you can see, Ciara is a mother. She
Soon
is,
to be.
Yeah. How many weeks are you?
I am 20 weeks today, so I'm halfway through.
Yep. So, yeah, we wanted to come on here together.
We have a very special message for you guys. So we wanted to share our experience with healing and how to get started with it.
Mm-hmm. So, as you can see in the title, this is related to curing or helping heal mental health.
Yes.
And we wanted to share this with you guys because it's something that we all have to deal with. It's something that's very normal that a lot of people go through, but we couldn't find a lot of content online on how to heal.
No.
And so we talk about this all the time and how our journey and what we have been able to do to heal, you know, ourselves and help each other, because we're always helping each other.
Yes.
And we're like, we should make a video.
We're each other's therapist.
Yeah.
We're constantly reminding each other of everything.
Yes.
But,
so I'm gonna fix this one because this one I feel
yeah, it's
like
a little crooked.
like you're off the camera.
Okay.
And yeah. So let me flip it a little bit, and then that way you're still in that one.
Okay.
And then I'll check yours too to
Yeah.
make sure that you're still good. So I think you're good.
My
right
legs
there.
are closed.
Yeah, you're still in this
Okay.
one. Yeah, you're good.
All right.
Okay, guys. So I won't be able to see your comments from that far, but
We can check them out after.
yeah, we'll check them after, and we will reply for sure. So I think that one's good. That's good, and then that one's good.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
So we are talking about how to heal mental dis-ease. So when you break it down in dis-ease, that literally kind of explains what a mental disorder is, a mental dis-ease. It's from a result of being at dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily from a chemical imbalance. It is sometimes, but a lot of it is a result of how you grew up.
Programming.
Yeah, programming. So I wanted to talk to you guys about the first 7 years of your life, which is the Theta stage of the brain. So the first 7 years of our lives are the most important developmental wise. Sorry, tongue twister a little bit. Hold on, let me breathe a little bit. I'm like talking so fast. Okay, and during those 7 years, we literally, so when we're in the womb, we come with a blank slate. So think of it as like a computer program or just a computer. When you first get a computer, there's no software on it. You have to download it onto the software. And that's what is happening to us when we're born into this realm. So the programming actually begins within the 3rd trimester of pregnancy. The child begins getting programs from their mother, whatever is happening during that time. Because there is so much to learn in Earth that there's just, the parent can't teach the kid everything.
Right.
So it's programmed into them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had a tragic childhood, or just maybe you were facing any kind of like emotional neglect, psychological neglect, or maybe your parents just had hard lives themselves, you're downloading those programs, and that's creating your lens on how you view your reality.
Right. That's why a lot of times people will say, I feel like I had a great childhood, but then somehow I still have anxiety, or I still have I don't really know how to deal with my stress. And a lot of it comes from observing your parents having that anxiety and not knowing how exactly to deal with stress.
Yes.
And so then you don't realize it, but just by observing your parents, you are learning those behaviors and you grow up to have these same exact behaviors.
Yes, and this time period, it literally is programming into your subconscious mind. So these programs are literally going to run the rest of your life. This is the foundation of who you are forever, unless you consciously deprogram them. And so let's say that your parents didn't necessarily like allow you to express yourself emotionally, and in no way are we blaming our parents. This is actually a result of society, how they were programmed. So we are taught to not express our feelings. Even from young children, we're not allowed to.
Yeah, like don't cry, stop crying.
Yeah. Stop, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah, don't, the church is not the place for you to be dancing, or, you can't wear makeup to school. I'm talking about feminine expression.
Don't do this, sexuality, like everything, liking boys, like anything. Like, don't do this, don't do that. You're literally fresh into this world and you're just getting barked at. You're not allowed to express yourself emotionally, sexually, creatively. Like, you're getting shut down. And as a result of that, it creates that disillusioned, and not a disillusion, it creates that disconnect from your sense of self, your disconnect from a sense of identity.
Right.
And as a result of that, when our parents are that hard on us, we have to cope with it some way, somehow, and that's how other personalities are formed. That's how our consciousness becomes fragmented and split, because the child doesn't know how to cope with it, and it still has these needs. It still feels this way, but it has to create this new consciousness, this new identity to please their parents, to please their teachers, to please society.
Right. And a lot of times you may think like, well, this does happen. You see the personalities coming out. You see the child trying to please the parent, and the parent is actually a real good person. They're trying their best. They're doing a really good job trying to read all the books and be the best parent that they can be, but still the child is developing these signs, these symptoms. And it has a lot to do, I think, like you said, with society or the expectations of the school, the teachers, the counselors, the students, the people that your child is interacting with. Those people are all also programming your child.
Yes. Teachers, every single adult is like a god to a child up until the age of 7. So they're just learning everything, even from their students. Like, they don't have the programs yet, so they have to learn from others. That's how we are as human beings. Even to this day, as an adult, we're still constantly learning from others. It's our herd-like mentality to do this subconsciously.
So we have, we have some notes.
Yes.
So I don't know if you want to bring out your notes, and we want to.
I have the notes.
Yeah, because I think it's like, I'm sure you guys have heard us mention before when I made a video with Walter, or if you've ever watched the elevators video, we always talk about it's important to write down our thoughts.
Yes.
Because although Ciara and I, when we have these conversations, we are flowing. Like, there's no script. There is no script with us, but we did want to stay focused.
Yes, because sometimes we go off topic.
Yeah, we go on and on and on and on, and it's just like, whoa, an hour's gone by and we've only talked about like one thing. So we want to stay focused. So Ciara took some notes down. This is information that she has researched a long time ago. She didn't make these notes for this video, right?
Yeah,
I
made a blog. Yeah. I had a blog I wrote last year. And a lot of the experience that I actually wrote about was just from my own experience through meditation, through inner child work, through learning about the subconscious mind, learning about the psyche and everything. So I formulated this blog. We can link it in the caption too, or can you change it?
Yeah, I'll put it in the description.
Okay. But we were talking about how to start your healing journey, and your healing journey entails like healing from depression, healing from anxiety.
That's a huge one. You don't know how many messages I get from people saying I have basically it's a mental disease. It just it hounds me. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't make any decisions. Anxiety has just taken over me.
Can't take the first leap into what you want, your goals. This is how to heal bipolar disorder. Everything, like every mental disease is a result of your childhood, or it's a result of you getting that passed down through you genetically too, which we'll go into that later on.
Right.
But the foundation of your self-healing journey is going to begin by connecting with that inner child. So that inner child is the echo of who you once were. That inner child is your childlike energy, that creative energy, that imagination. That imagination is so powerful, and we lose touch with it. And imagination is how we create like movies, books, Harry Potter. That's how Harry Potter was created, in the mind.
I remember someone said to me once, everything that you see around you was once in someone's mind. It was once a vision. Every single thing that you see around you was once an idea. Somebody sat down and daydreamed about it, wasted a lot of time thinking about it, probably all their life thinking about it, and it became an invention, a creation.
Yep, it's like it starts in your mind, and then you bear it into reality. You create it.
You manifest it.
Yes. And so when you're connecting with this inner child, you're connecting to this childlike energy, but you're also going to start discovering where your wounds are. You're going to connect to that wounded inner child. So you're going to figure out where your sense of identity was formed and like why you are the way that you are. All of your habits, all of your personality traits. And when you reconnect with this part of yourself, you're going to discover your roots, the roots behind like why you are the way that you are. And this is how you can begin reprogramming yourself.
Right. You have to be in touch with those stories.
Yes.
So if possible, I don't know if you agree with me, but I recommend grabbing a friend who can listen to you for 1 or 2 hours. Where you can just start from the beginning, like your earliest memory, and just go from there. Just listen to yourself talk, and then ask your friend not to ask you too many questions or to interrupt you, so that you can just let it all out and just start talking about your journey, your life, your childhood, and allow yourself to hear your own voice talking about, hey, you know, my mom did this to me, my dad did this to me, I experienced this in school. If you don't have a friend who can listen to you, you can always record yourself. You don't have to upload it anywhere. If you're embarrassed of seeing yourself on camera, you don't even have to record your face.
Voice memo.
Yeah, you can do a voice memo. You can journal it if you like to write. Some people like to write. And just get your childhood and your whole journey out. Like, get it out so that you can see it and hear it.
Yes, and that's how you're going to start figuring it out. It's just like by getting it all out all at once. I know for me, I started with writing it all out on a computer screen and then deleting it. And then I would move to like voice memos. And then I found like friends that understood what I was going through, and then I was able to share that with a friend. So sometimes you don't have that person you can talk to. And I know I was at that point where I didn't have anybody I could talk to. I was just all with myself. So I understand if you don't have anybody else out there, they will come. They will come.
Yeah.
She came. Right?
Yeah, we're connected to each other. Okay, you guys, so just real quick, in a little bit, I'm gonna have to, remember I told you before,
Yes,
I'm gonna have to step away because my son is gonna be here any minute to pick something up. And I don't want to stop the live streaming. I want you to keep going.
Okay.
So I'll get up and I'll come back, and then in the video that we're recording, we'll just edit that part out.
True. Okay.
But you guys who are watching live are gonna get to see this. Yes. So do you mind?
Yeah, that's
holding?
fine. Do you have to go right now?
No, I'm gonna go just to check.
Okay.
And then I'll be right back. Okay.
Right,
So
sounds
just
good.
sit tight with Tiara. She's super.
I might talk your head off. Just warning you. Okay. So I wanted to talk to you guys about some of the questions that you can ask yourself about your childhood, so you can start reconnecting with that part of yourself. So what was your childhood like? Can you remember at all? Are there chapters of your childhood that you don't remember at all? So if that is the case, that is a coping mechanism that your brain created as a way to deal with your life. So it was so painful that your mind can't bear the pain. Those are the periods.
There it is. It's back.
Okay.
We're back. Sorry, guys. Put this back here. It was because my son's grandmother was calling me.
Did they leave?
No, she said never mind. I told her what we were doing, and she said, I'm so sorry. So she said sorry to you guys. Sorry that we froze. She called, and I couldn't do anything about it. I'm recording on my phone.
We're back though.
We're back.
Okay, so before I got cut off, I was talking about the periods of your life that were blacked out and explaining how that was a result of a coping mechanism.
Yes.
So those are the time period. Oh yeah, good job. Those are the time periods that you want to go back to and figure out what happened. So you can do that by just setting the intention to remember. And by setting the intention, it'll start surfacing through your dreams. It'll start surfacing through memories. Maybe you'll see a person from that time in your childhood that triggers those memories. Or you can even do it through meditation. You can set the intention to go back and try to remember that. It'll all surface once you set that intention.
I want to interrupt you with the meditation part.
Yes.
Because a lot of people know how to meditate nowadays, but some people wouldn't know how to meditate. So,
like, okay, yes, so this is actually something really important. I'm so glad you brought that up. So when people think of meditation, they just think of it as a way like you're silencing your thoughts. In my opinion, that's an incorrect way of meditation, because you're never going to silence your thoughts, because your thoughts are here to teach you. And especially, I mean, maybe at one point your thoughts will be silenced once you're done healing, but the point of meditation is to contemplate. Like, okay, a thought popped up. Where is this stemming from? Why am I thinking this way? And that's how you start tracing back the roots of like who you are, like why this pattern formed. And so when you sit down to meditate, you close your eyes and you set an intention of what you want to focus on. And maybe that focus could even be to clear your mind, to find a solution to a problem, whatever it is.
So let's say, for example, if someone was molested when they were a child, and that's like something that came up during that, you know how I mentioned talking about your childhood?
Yes.
And let's say during that conversation that you're having where you're just kind of letting your whole childhood and your story out, you're like, I was molested.
Yeah.
And if that comes up, how would you meditate on that? Would you just have like memories of it? Or would you try to empathize with the person who molested you? Or like, how would you meditate on that experience?
I'm so glad you asked that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's when the healing really goes into play. So it starts with meditation when you start getting those memories back. And then it's going to be so unbearable to have to relive those memories again if you hadn't fully processed it or if you haven't fully healed from it. So what happens is that you actually have to kind of surrender to your thoughts. So maybe there's a bunch of suppressed emotions that are arising from that memory that you suppressed. Let it all out. Let it all out. Let it break you down onto the floor, onto your knees, and just surrender. That is so important. I can't like emphasize that enough. You have to let it out because of the energetic imprints these memories have on our body. That's also how disease is created. Is because we're storing this energy. Everything is energy. That's why we feel so good when we cry. That has to be released.
Yeah. And it's interesting that when you cry, it's literally like liquid that comes out of your body, which is like, as you know, water and liquid is conducive to energy. So when you're letting that out, that's like literally energy manifesting itself and exiting your body in the most like sweetest and saddest way.
Yeah, it's so sad. Your tears are sacred.
Yeah.
Your tears have codes in them, and you're like letting go of the codes that made your programs of who you are. And yeah, like it takes a little bit. It's not going to happen in one day. The healing process doesn't happen overnight.
Especially for a lot of males over the age of like, I would say maybe 30, 40, because that generation was told, don't cry.
Oh yeah.
Don't cry. Stop it. Stop being a wuss. So I think for those, if any males are watching this video, make sure that you're aware that it's okay. It's okay to let it out. It's important for your healing process that you allow yourself, if not in the first session, maybe the second, third, fourth, eventually you're going to have to cry it out.
Yeah, and it's not even in that generation, even the 20-year-old men now, I know many of them are struggling with their emotions, and even the 14-year-old boys today, like no one is allowing us to feel our emotions, especially there's so much pressure on men. So we are here for you guys, the masculine energy, like We support your healing. Let it all out. Like, please, like, share your story with us on how you're letting it out and your emotions that you've been bottling up. I think that's so important, and that's part of the healing process. And then you go back to the meditation too, and then more memories will come back, and then you'll have to maybe take a little break and go back to crying, go back to like letting it all out. Like, that's what anger actually is too. Anger is repressed sadness. So if you have anger management problems, like you're just like so much anger bottled up, like you have to let that energy out too. Like, there's a way to healthily release anger without lashing out on somebody.
Right.
You can work it out. You can hit a pillow, like get it out, and then deal with the memories that cause that anger. Deal with whatever inside of you is bothered, because our emotions are here to teach us.
Right. There's a video that I forwarded to a couple of people who might be watching this video, and I think I might have sent it to you, where it's this like healing session for anger. And I'll link that video in the description as well, but they show this young man who comes up to the healer, and they know he's full of anger, and it's bottled up from like years and years of just like suppressing it, that they just let him, like they allowed him a safe space to scream it out. And he was just like, like just letting it out. And I was watching that video and I got chills in my body, and I like when he started, because he screams and then he starts sobbing, because it goes from like the first thick part of it where it's just like thickness and anger, it's coming out, to like the sadness finally coming out slowly after that. And so he starts sobbing in the video, and I just was crying just watching him release that like years and years and years of anger.
Oh, I have chills thinking about that. I feel that.
So I'll link that video so you guys can see that too. And just so that you guys know, Ciara and I are able to provide that for you guys. If you ever need, you can reach out to us. We have our contact information in the link. You guys, some of you guys may follow me on Instagram, so you know how to reach me there. And we can definitely provide that service to help you guys heal if you need a safe space.
Yeah, because it's so necessary. And it's literally, once you start healing, like you're going to start getting in touch with who you really are. You're going to get in touch with that power. And it's buried underneath all the sadness, all the anger, all the resentment. Like, once you start peeling back the layers of who you are, like you're going to discover your true essence. It's within you. It's there. It's just muddied up with all the trauma that you've went through in your life. And
Okay. So we have step 1.
Step
be in
2,
touch with your
inner child.
Your inner child. Step 2, meditate about it. Think about it. Let it go through you. Go through the process of emotional.
Well, actually, let's do step 2 is meditation. And then step 3 is feeling out all the emotions.
Okay.
So, because once you meditate and you start setting that intention to let it all out, it unfolds over not days, months. Like, I've been on this journey for 3 years. 3 years. I am close to being healed, but I'm not there yet. I probably have another year or 2 left. And that's just part of the process, because this world is really hard to live in. Like, there's so much societal programming going on. Like, it's okay that you feel this way. Like, I can guarantee every single human being is depressed right now in this world. But we can heal it, and we could find the bliss. Heaven exists on earth. It's a mindset, and it's awesome once you tap into it. So, so that would be the 3rd step, is just to let it all out. Start checking in with yourself daily. Like, how am I feeling today? Check in and, like, write it out. Tell a friend. Like, we tell each other every single day how we're feeling, and we let it out. Write it out in a journal, like we said, or in a voice memo, just even a blog, Twitter. Twitter is an excellent diary, and you start, other people feel that way too.
I have a friend who uploads private videos to her social media. I'm not going to say who it is, but she uploads private videos, their video diaries. No one can see them.
I love that.
And she just has it there because, social media now, it tells you a year later, hey, this is a memory. And so she's able to see herself a year later, and that's why she does that. Here's another thing that I recommend is be vulnerable when you journal or record or share with your friends.
Be honest with yourself.
Be honest. Don't try to be perfect. don't try to be perfect, because trying to be perfect is it's like an additional stressor.
Yes.
So if you're like trying to wear this mask of like, oh, then I told this person this and then they said this, it's better to say, I lost it and I yelled and I was really mean and I regret it. I said these horrible words to this person, or I swung at them and I shouldn't have done. Things like that are better for you because you're being honest, and then that way you can piece by piece, okay, why did you swing? Like, what were you feeling? What did you want to accomplish by hitting that person?
Yes.
Why did you use the particular cuss words? Where did they come from? So it's super important that during that step that you are vulnerable and honest.
Yes. And it's actually programmed into us to lie to ourselves, to like hide our true identities. Mm-hmm. And that's a result, again, from our childhood. And we're just used to wearing so many masks that we don't even know who our true selves are sometimes. Mm-hmm. So just let it all out, whatever it is. Like, it's yourself, like it's you, like you've been there your whole life. You're going to be there for the rest of your life. So build that relationship with yourself. Yeah. I think that's so important.
So what's the next step?
So the next step is integration. So you're going to start understanding more of like why you are the way that you are, and then you're going to start integrating that into your being. Because what happens is, that's how today is going sometimes. As a result of the trauma that we face, the emotional neglect, the psychological neglect, we do create different identities because of that. And so I talk about integration because it's important to integrate how you're feeling and kind of start incorporating that into like one identity. And it's a process that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of understanding the different identities that were formed because of that. And you'll start figuring it out once you're meditating and healing on that. It's just a process. Like, one day you'll realize that you wear this mask in front of this person, and then around a different group of friends you're this way. And that happens as a result of not being able to be yourself around your family. So you lose a sense of self. So a different form of self is created with each different group that you're around.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's how it's kind of cool, actually. Like, that's how a lot of salespeople are. That's how they're so good at sales, is because they're able to just like become a chameleon and just formulate themselves and identify with that person in order to make a sell. I know a lot of people like that, but the downside of that is that you don't really know who you really are. And you're attracting the wrong friends in your life, and the wrong people, wrong partner. You can't be your true self around your partner because you don't know who your true self is.
Right.
So
that is very true. And I remember doing that as a teen, and I remember a lot of my friends who were also teens would I was just having a conversation with a friend yesterday about changing your story as a teen. I don't know if you ever did that, but you would lie about like your heritage, or you would lie about your family dynamic, or you would try to like change your story so that people could accept who you are, and everybody believed it. And I know I lied about a couple of things in high school that, for a long time people thought was true about me. And then I had to confess and say, you know what, I lied, and I don't know why I did that. But now as an adult, I'm like, I know why I did that, because I was really trying to hook them in and make them like me. Yes. And I felt like my story was not good enough. I wanted it to be better, and so I changed it. And I know when I talked to...
Thank you for being honest with that.
Yeah, because I talked to other people, and a lot of people were like, me too. I did that too, like in one way or another, whether the way they dressed, who they hung out with, it was all a facade.
I actually did that 4 years ago. I moved to a different country, and I was in a really bad mental space, and I lied about everything, every single part of who I was. So I lived in Laguna Beach because I was from California, so everybody is like, oh, California! They freak out. And so I was just like, okay, well, everyone knows Laguna Beach. So I just like made up a whole new identity. And then it got revealed later on, like right as it was like 6 months into living there. and my true identity came out, and everybody thought I was like a psychopath for lying. It was
See,
really
that's-
devastating.
That's why, but you know, those are stories that happen to a lot
yeah,
of
we
us.
all feel this way.
Yeah, you know, or like if you're going to, let's say, a particular church and you're trying to hold up this like image of how perfect you are, but really like your family has all these little problems and you're just like trying your best to hold it together when you go to church. And then a little bit of it will show and you're like, no, you know, that's not true. So I'm sure everyone can relate to that in one form or another. So it's important to integrate.
Yes, and it's important to, hold on, I lost my train of thought. So integrate. So you continue. Hold on.
Yeah, I know. She's got pregnancy
I really do have pregnancy brain. It happens so often.
I remember that. That used to happen to me so much. Anyway, go on.
Okay, I remember now. Okay, we actually believe our own lives sometimes. That's another key factor of integration is understanding what is the truth, because you have to like live this lie for so long that you get disconnected from the truth.
And
that's happened to me.
I know that when you do that, that can actually also contribute to your depression.
Yes.
Because it is draining to
keep up with all the lies.
Yeah, keep up with the lies and with the image that you're trying to paint for people.
Yes.
It's draining. And I know that firsthand because when I first started YouTube, I was like trying my best to be like always wearing my makeup, always like doing my hair. I mean, I was doing hair tutorials, so I just always wanted to be like, I want to make it look nice. And now if you go to my Instagram, a lot of times I'll film myself like in my bathrobe and like no makeup.
I love that.
And it feels better. Like I feel like I get more responses from people. People usually feel more connected to me because they're like, oh, she's a real person, versus posting like myself in the most perfect situations. Most of my selfies I take are in my car.
Same. Always in my car. I love it.
Anyway, so okay.
The next step.
Next step.
Okay, so the next step is reprogramming, which is the fun part, but it's also a challenging part. So you understand that all the patterns and identities and personalities that were created as a result of your childhood, but now you have to start reprogramming them. And so what I did personally was I started writing out all the parts of myself that I need to reprogram. And then I drew an arrow, and I drew an arrow of like the word of what I was going to reprogram that with.
Ooh, I think that's the step I'm on right now.
Okay.
That's where I am right now. So I feel like at this point I can't really give any more advice.
Yeah.
This is where I am now. And I love that you said that.
Okay.
I don't want to like cut you off or your train of thought. So remember what you were going to say, because I just want to say something, because I remember that for me, I struggle with my femininity because of religion. And I've shared that with you before.
Yes.
I go back and forth with being okay with being, aware of my sexuality, being feminine, dancing, wearing jewelry, adornments, and feeling beautiful, to like, no, religion says you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be stuck on, covering up and being modest and, all these things, which I'm going to make a separate video about this, and hopefully I can have you in that video with me. Of course. Because that is something that I struggle with. And we've talked about this, how that's all from the constant programming that I received from church, from religion, from religious leaders, even from my parents who were trying their best to please the religious leaders. So
that's so important to share.
Yeah.
So many people feel that way.
Yeah. And so it's so great that you're saying that, because even something as simple as somebody saying to me, like, take a picture, and then I'll take it, but like a lot of me is like, am I showing too much? Like, I'll cover up, and then other people are like, hi, and I'm just like, I wish I could be that way.
Yeah.
But there's a big part of me that gets real shy. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, for those of you who follow me on Instagram, but I'll delete all my photos.
Yeah.
I
tell her to stop.
She's like, Iris, where are your photos? And I'm just like, I feel so like, why did I do that? Why did I take those photos? Why did I post them? Like, I'm being an Instagram girl, and I don't want to be an Instagram girl. So I'm constantly battling that with myself because of the program. So I'm glad that you mentioned reprogramming, because that's the step that I'm in right now.
Okay, well then this can help you too.
Yes.
Because I spent a year and a half reprogramming, and it's hard. Like, it is so hard. I'm not going to lie. You get tested all the time. from it. So I want to talk a little more about the reprogramming process.
Okay.
So you're figuring out what you want to reprogram your habits with. You know all the bad habits you have. You know all the good habits you want to program them with. So I would begin with starting with one program at a time, one habit. And I will be honest, I didn't do that. I started with all of them. And it was a mess. And that's why it took so long for me. Because I was so determined. I was like, oh my God, I'm so messed up. Like, I have so much work to do. And you know, some of them were successfully like implemented. But I would have done a lot better if I started one at a time. And so that's actually what I do with a lot of my clients. I'm just like, okay, pick one thing to focus on this week. Because it takes like 28 days. It depends. There's so many different like studies on how long it takes to implement a habit. So 28 days, a month. I say just give yourself a month to really focus on that new habit. And you could start adding new ones into that as well. Like every week maybe. Just like slightly like keep that in your conscious. Like, okay, I want to start getting better at that. So let's say, what's one of your habits that you struggle with? Like, what are you reprogramming?
Okay, so I mentioned the femininity. That's one of them.
Okay.
Another one is, one of the programs that I have is I'm constantly thinking that when things are going right, that means they're going to go wrong.
Ooh.
Like, I tell myself that a lot. Like, I'm always like, oh my gosh, everything's good. Like, why am I flying? Why is everything flying? I should be crashing soon. And then I'm like, where is it? And then I crash and I'm like, yep, I knew it.
Yep. And that's also a result of manifestation. So we create our reality. And so when you have those thought beliefs, you're going to start looking for the things that are wrong in your life to support your belief. So with that, Iris, so how often does that happen? How often do you think that?
I'm getting better where it's not happening to me like it used to, which was like all the time.
Okay.
But now I would say it's just whenever something really good is happening to me.
Okay.
I just feel like sometimes, and I'm working on it, so I don't even want to say it out loud right now. But just as an example, I will say something like, I don't really deserve this.
Okay. So I used to struggle with this too. So I would literally like have an anxiety attack about the things going right in my life, and I just like knew that the bad stuff was happening. And then of course I feel like I would make stuff happen, like subconsciously sabotaging myself. So that's also something you have to keep in mind. So every single day you can start off with that focus. So write it down in a journal. I really, really, really recommend getting a journal. If you guys don't like writing, I just recommend starting to simply start practicing it, and you'll start developing like a deeper love for it, because writing helps the brain register what you want to do. So that's what I do personally. So in the morning, write down your intention of what you want to focus on. So actually even on Sunday, the start of the week, figure out, okay, I'm going to work on this habit.
Right.
And then,
This one died.
One of our cameras died. That's okay. Did it stop or did it?
I think it just ran out of memory.
Okay.
Sorry. That one.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, so then in the morning, you're going to remind yourself, like, okay, I'm going to focus on this. And if those thoughts do come up, you already set the intention to fix that. And so you can reprogram with that thought pattern with, I do deserve this. I deserve to be happy. And then it's going to tie in a little bit with, like, what I said with figuring out why you have those beliefs. And so you have to remind yourself, like, okay, my inner child, that's your inner child feeling that way. That's your inner child, like, having those thoughts. So you have to, like, hold yourself and be like, it's okay. I understand that you feel this way, but this is our new reality.
Right.
And you have to be really gentle with yourself. That's why I'll literally like, hug myself all day. I'll place my hand on my heart. I'm like, I understand you. Yeah. That's what I forgot to mention. Remind yourself that, like, acknowledge the thought, like, okay, I am feeling this way. I understand why I feel this way. But this is a new reality. This isn't my truth anymore. And don't accept it as your truth. Like, this isn't my truth anymore.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people are stuck in their past.
Yes.
Like, you know, my dad molested me, or my brother used to hit me, or my parents had a divorce, and they just mull it over and over and over, and they're stuck in that chapter, and they can't move on to the next chapter. Like, good things are happening and they're not aware of it. Like, and I'm saying this from experience, because you're so, like, I'm so focused in the past, what my parents did, what my dad did, my mom, you know, leaders, teachers, and I'm just like, I keep thinking about it. I'm like, that's why I am how I am, but I can't come back to where I am now. That's not my reality anymore.
Yes, that's so important. Thank you for sharing. Like, I love how vulnerable you're being.
Oh,
too.
yeah, of
Like, I love
course.
it.
Yeah,
this is what we need.
Yeah, because I want people to understand, like, hey, I know you guys are going through this. You know, a lot of us are going through this. Get closer to me.
Yeah, I will.
You're like super far away. I'm like, see,
Sorry, I just don't want things to like the camera
to
look
put
up
on
my
a
legs.
show?
Yeah, that's why. But I'll come closer. Okay, and so so every single day, remind yourself that, and just like nudge yourself through the process. Once you feel like you've mastered that, then you move on to the next thing. But it's a little more trickier than that because it's a hardwired neural pathway in our brain. So it does pop up again. Like, it'll keep popping up sometimes. And it's little tests. It's your brain testing you, or you can say it as the universe testing you. It's God testing you. It's the trials and tribulations, the patterns resurfacing.
Yes.
And remind yourself.
Right.
Okay.
Here's another thing to be aware of, and this is actually something that happened to me when I was going through my healing process for some painful things that I went through a few years ago. I remember that I was like, okay, I'm going through this process. I know that I need patience.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my prayer and my intention today from the universe, from God, from my higher self, is for patience. And I wanted to just go through the healing process and invite and welcome patience into my life. Do you know that I just got test after test after test for patience? It was like, it was confusing me at first, because I remember the first thing that happened after I had this great prayer session, meditation session, and I was like feeling good, and I was like, let's go. And I started pulling out of my garage. I opened it as usual. It's one of those power garages, and the whole garage door just fell on my car. And I said, what the heck? Like, my garage has never done that before. And I just sat there with like the garage door, on my car, and I was just like, what the heck just happened? Like, I was feeling so good, and now there's like this garage door on my car. And then right after that, it was like one thing after another, after another, after another of my
That's literally how it goes.
my patience being tested. And I was like, wow. After a while, I realized it was like a day or two when I thought about it, and I said, wow, that is my patience being tested.
Yeah, and then you like made me remember a couple months ago. So like 2 months ago, like we were kind of like in this dark place. Like, we weren't trying to be in this dark place, but we wanted to rise above so fast. We wanted to just like embody the light, embody positivity. Everything was kind of going wrong in our lives. Every single day, like, we were getting no breaks. It was the roughest period of our time, of our life this year. But it lasts like maybe a month or two, and then you just rise above it.
Yeah.
And then it's done.
Yeah.
You're done.
And once it's done, it's like you look back and you're like, oh, it does
That's
get
what
better.
happened.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway.
Okay, so that's the reprogramming process. And we're gonna actually make more videos on each step, because there's just so much that goes into this, and I'm only kind of doing a little summary of it. So the reprogramming is, what was that, the fourth, fifth step? Was it the fourth?
I think it was the fourth.
Okay. So then the fifth step would be to continue that connection with yourself. So I didn't really talk about connecting with yourself, but you're kind of already doing that by meditating. But you want to start connecting to your body every single day. And connecting with your body means like sitting down in the morning before you go on your phone. Like, don't wake up and go immediately to your phone, because that's just kind of another distraction. Like, you want to connect to your body first before you connect to a phone, another entity, or another person. So give yourself that time to just 5 minutes. Just connect to yourself, and that'll also help the process a lot easier.
So how do you connect? Like, show me right now, like, how would I connect to myself if I just woke up?
Okay, so just woke up, literally crawl out of bed, get on the floor. And literally, I'll do it here. Like, literally just start stretching, connecting to your feet, into your legs.
Can you do it in bed, like if you're not ready to get out of bed?
Yeah, you can do it in bed too.
Okay.
So right now it's a little painful for me because I haven't stretched today. So that was my mistake. I was in a rush, and sometimes you are in a rush, so do it later on in the day. And breathe into that discomfort, that dis-ease. Like, it's a little bit of discomfort for me right now. I'm also pregnant, so there's a ton of blood flowing to the baby and not to my legs. But that's how you're gonna start you're connecting to the breath and you're connecting to the body.
So you're just basically saying, just reaching down and touching
Yeah.
your toes.
1 foot at a time,
Okay.
and then you're gonna do both.
Okay.
And then you can do that, and then place your hand on your heart and just breathe into that. So like 3 times. And that's how you're gonna get out of like the autopilot mode, the subconscious mind, and into the conscious mind, because you're aware of your body. And you can carry this practice throughout the day with connecting to yourself. So that was just like a little bit of what you could do. You can also do your affirmations right when you wake up too. So like, I am positive, I am confident. Like, what are some of your affirmations that you like to do?
The current affirmation that I have is the one I shared with you earlier, which is I deserve the job that I have, and
Yes.
I'm really great at what I do.
Yes. So just whatever affirmations that you have, you're connecting with yourself, you're reminding yourself of who you are. And then you can also like set the intentions of what you have, like what you want your day to be like. So I'm going to have a great day. I am going to go to the gym. I'm going to be healthy today. So that's just like you're programming your mind like to remind yourself of what you're going to do for that day. And then what you can also do is start slowing down to keep that connection to your body throughout the day. And before like you're eating, connect back to yourself, connect back to the breath, and be like, okay, be very mindful as you're chewing. That's connecting to yourself. Like you're in your body, you're not somewhere else. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way. Have you felt this way where you don't feel like you're in your body?
Yeah, I have.
Like you're just like a robot, and then you're like, whoa! Like, you move your toes a little bit, and then you're like, oh yeah, I'm here. So even wiggling your toes, like if you forget or if you're at work or something, just wiggle your toes, move your hands around. I like to do hand exercises. I don't have a lot of blood flow that goes to my hands, so I have to do this, and then I'll like make fists, and that's building that mind-body connection.
Right.
Yoga is also a good thing to do in the mornings. I love yoga. Yoga is a great way to start forming a connection to your body. But yeah, those are some of my tips.
I like to, one of the things that I like to do is I like to send like these visual bubbles of love to like all my family and my friends.
Aww.
So they're like different colors for different like different people in my life, you know, and they're like bubbles that'll go from my heart, and they'll just like go out into space and just somehow reach the person that I'm thinking about.
That's powerful.
Yeah, and just send them love for the day. So that's something that you can do, especially if you have someone in your family who's sick, someone in your family who you love or you haven't seen in a long time. Like there's nothing that will stop that bubble from getting to that person.
I really love that. I'm actually going to start practicing that, Iris. You're an angel.
Aw.
I love that.
I just love doing that. It makes me feel good. And then especially if that person says, oh, I thought about you today, or I had a dream about you, and it's just like I don't say anything, but it's just that those are the little things that I like to do that really help. Yeah.
And that's connecting to yourself, and it's connecting to all your loved ones too, and sending them positive energy. Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next step, which it would be step number 6, is... Wow, I lost my train of thought again. Oh, okay, it came back. Pregnancy brain is so real. It literally was like in my mind, and then it went away, and then it came back.
It's like a little like butterfly.
Yeah, let me catch it. Okay, so the next step is being present. Now, this actually takes kind of a while to master, which is why it's the last step. Because now that's what I'm on. I'm on the step of becoming present in everything I do. So I don't want to be in the autopilot subconscious mind at all. I want to be alive and experiencing life. And so to become present is, it like kind of ties in with connecting to yourself in the morning. But as you connect to yourself in the morning, I don't know if you ever felt this way, but you still kind of like disconnect later on in the day.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was where I was at, and I was like, why am I disconnecting from myself? And I was like, oh, I'm not being present enough. I forgot all of my intentions. But if you're in the present moment, you're in the conscious mind, like you're just like, oh yeah, I'm on this journey. This is what I'm here to do. So I have some tips on how to remain present. And again, we're going to make a whole nother video on this because I can go so much more into detail.
Yeah, this is just like the summary, like
yeah.
breakdown.
This is the beginning of the healing process. So some things that help me with being present, of course, is just slowing down. Just like reminding myself to slow down. When I'm driving, that's when most of us go into that autopilot mode. So as I'm driving, I make sure that I have my hands on the steering wheel and I feel the actual steering wheel. Like, do you forget what it feels like sometimes?
Literally, no. I'm sorry to cut you off again, but I just have to share this.
Yes, of course.
I drove today 6 exits away from where I was supposed to exit. And I was like almost home and I said, what the heck? How did I get here? I was supposed to exit like way back there and now I have to turn around.
Yes,
so,
because she's always in her mind.
Yep.
She's always in her mind.
Yes.
And so many of us are.
Yeah.
So it's like taking the elevator from the mind and into the heart, which is more of like the present moment.
Yes.
So that's funny. That's Irish though. I totally see that. I can't believe that happened. But sometimes you'll drive somewhere and then you'll completely forget where, like, you even drove.
Yeah.
Like, that happened to me on Monday. I was on the phone with one of my friends and I was in such a deep conversation, I forgot how I even drove home. I was like, whoa. I'm so grateful I made it safely. Because I become so present with whoever I'm interacting with that I forget everything. So, yeah, slowing down, being present, getting it out of the mind. So just... sometimes we get lost in our thought process, and I know you have that.
Yes.
You do that a lot.
Since I was a kid, yes.
And that's also a result of like anxiety too, just overthinking, making like constantly replaying the stories in your mind. So get out of the mind and into the present moment by like touching something in this realm. So like a couch. I like to go touch a tree and feel like the bark on the tree. Or I like to walk barefoot, and that's how you can ground yourself, which we've done grounding together. Right. And feel like the leaves underneath your toes, your feet, like the dirt, the cold dirt. It's really helpful in the winter to feel present because the cold air, like brushing against your skin, really wakes you up and feels alive. So it's good that we're doing this in the winter. It's the winter here in the U.S.
Yeah.
So it's time to start practicing it.
Right. And there's something else that I remember I used to do something similar to that when I was working in the office because I couldn't go outside. And even if I did, it was all concrete.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I would have these anxiety moments when I was in the office. So what I would do to focus on the present was to find just 5 things in my office. And it could be the same thing every day. It doesn't matter as long as it's 5 things. And then just in my head, look at them and say them. So whatever, pen, paper, pencil, keyboard, and then maybe something on myself, bracelet. And it was just like, it would bring me back from like, because yeah, she's right. Like I go out into space and trust me, I'm not like an airhead or anything like that, but like my mind goes into like evaluating everything, analyzing everything, thinking of concepts, imagining inventions, and I'm just like somewhere else. And then sometimes if I lose control, I start to have these real like scary movies in my head about these scenarios that could possibly happen to me or my family. And like if I put my hand on my chest, I could literally hear my heart like and feel it, you know, like it's thumping so hard because I'm in this image, this movie. And so I have to bring myself back to the present and be like, look, everything you're worried about it's all in your mind. It hasn't even happened. If it's going to happen, it hasn't even happened. You're in your office right now and you're next to this computer. You're next to this, you know, desk. There's a pen there. You know, here's your legs. Like, here's your watch. You know, everything is here. So just, you're okay. Yeah. None of that is real. It's just images.
I like that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I still struggle with it too sometimes too. Like even when you're on this journey, like sometimes you have those off days where you're out of touch with it yourself, and then you have your reminders either in your journal or like your friends. Like you remind me a lot to like, okay, be present. Like you already know what to do. I'm just reminding you. I'm reflecting you back to yourself. So, and be easy on yourself too if you have those slip ups. I feel like that's really important to remind you.
Super important. That's another thing that I do to myself is I like I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and I said, you know, talking to him, he said, I think I need to make a vision board.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, that's a good idea, you know, and then I reminded him, if tomorrow you wake up and you don't want to make that vision board anymore, and don't be upset at yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like this little spark in your mind that opens up and says, I want to make a vision board.
Yeah.
And then it's like a little seed that's being planted. That doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to wake up and do it. It just means that maybe for the next full year, you're going to think about this vision board. And maybe a year later, you'll want to make it and you'll have that motivation to make it. So don't beat yourself up that full year, because maybe that's how long it took for that little seed to sprout. A little sprout, and it's okay. Yeah. Or like if you're going through something, and let's say, like, I remember I used to beat myself up about not working out hard enough. Like, oh, I'm so sad and I want to go into the gym and I just want to kill this sadness with my workout, but the only thing I do is walk. Walk, and I'm just walking and being so soft with myself. And I had another friend of mine tell me, well, maybe that's just what you need right now. Maybe that's just where you are right now, and you've got to allow it to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. The seed is planted and it hasn't sprouted yet.
Yeah.
And yeah, that just ties into the next step, which is step 7 is to have compassion with yourself. Be gentle, be loving, because it doesn't happen overnight, and we're imperfect humans. Like, we can't strive for perfection. Like, you're not going to master any of these skills. Like, it's going to be an ever-evolving journey. You're going to get better and better and better at it, but sometimes we slip up, and that's okay. Like, and I think it's really important to be extra, like, loving and gentle with yourself and understanding of, like, why you are the way that you are. Like, I feel like we're so used to being so judgmental of ourselves and beating ourselves up. Is it gonna freeze? Oh. Okay, perfect. Yeah. We're back. Yeah, and so I know a part of my journey, I literally felt so, like, disgusted and disgraced by by the way I was. Like, I would judge myself, and I realized that I wasn't going to grow if I was just judging myself that way. Like, I needed to be gentle and loving. So when you start to have those, like, mean thoughts about yourself, be like, oh, like, would you say that to a child? Remind yourself of that inner child. Like, it's within you. I just touched my inner child. Your children are also your inner children, but your heart, like, is your connection to your inner child. And talk to yourself the same way you would to a young child, because she or he exists within you. And that's what I had to remind myself, was like, oh my goodness, like, I want to talk to little Ciara that way.
Yeah.
Like,
it's important to talk to yourself the way you would speak to a child, or the way if you were to encounter yourself, like, let's say you went into a time machine and you were to encounter yourself as a child, you wouldn't speak to yourself that way.
no.
So my battery's gonna die on this one.
That was the last step,
yeah,
so.
Yeah, so we're gonna say goodbye. I really hope that this has helped you guys. There are other videos that we want to make together. Like, we want to specifically talk about every single disease, mental disease. We want to talk about anxiety. We want to talk about schizophrenia.
Yeah.
What else did we mention? We wanted to
Split
talk
personality, bipolar disorder, like, everything.
Yeah, we want to break everything down. We also want to help you learn how to heal yourself from illnesses. Yeah. Simple illnesses like colds, flu.
Naturally, all natural too.
Yeah. How to heal yourself from more serious illnesses, and how to help your family heal as well. So I really want to get in touch with you guys as well. However, like I said, this battery is going to die, and I think this video's already gone on for like an hour.
Yeah, so. the music already changed.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a comment or a thumbs up. That's the only way that I know that you enjoyed it. You don't have to comment, but even just a little thumbs up is helpful to us, to let us know that we helped at least one person out there. Yeah. It would really mean a lot to us. And you can follow us on Instagram. I'll put her Instagram.
Twitter too.
Yeah, Twitter, so you guys can see all of that.
And YouTube.
Yeah, and continue to follow us, and yeah.
All right. right. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank
See you
you.
next time.
Bye.